What's up everyone, Alex here. We got a pretty nice Nintendo Switch emulation video today and we're coming back to the Odin 2. Just want to show quickly that I'm still using Obtainium. This is a really great app for updating your emulators. I use it for a few things, and Yuzu is something that gets updates like every day or two, and it's worth keeping up to date. So I use that to get the latest updates. And you can see here when I scroll down, I have these two button icons because I'm using OdinTools. And if I hold those buttons, I can go into the app, and they've made some cool updates recently. And one of them I like is app overrides. So with that, I can pick an app and have it choose a certain control style. So Yuzu is using the Odin, which is Nintendo style, and Pegasus is using Xbox. So whenever I come back out of Yuzu, I can use it like the Xbox style. And when I go into Yuzu, it's like Nintendo style. So just see there, that was Android 245. We can have a quick look at my settings. They're all pretty much default. We're going to be using handheld mode. There probably is some games where docked is better. We got 1x resolution, normal accuracy, and the main settings here that I've pretty much got always on is disk shader cache, force maximum clocks, and use asynchronous shaders. Now audio here, I'm just going to show quickly one of these settings. It's called Cube B. And that is a setting that is probably going to help you with some games on the Metroid Pocket 4 Plus, actually 4 Pro. I'm going to have to get used to that. Everything else is pretty much default. Vulkan and NCE should be the default settings for when you're using the newest GitHub updates. And now this is important. So GPU driver manager, I'm using the newest revision, which is revision 17. This only came out today, but there are other drivers worth getting, and some of them are Qualcomm drivers, and there's a couple of games where I'm going to be using those, so I'll leave a link to the description where you can get those. But yeah, I'll be showing each game which driver I'm going to pick. And here with Batman Arkham City, you can see that I'm using the Qualcomm driver instead of the Turnip driver. One of the reasons I use this is because sometimes when Batman is punching enemies and getting into the action, some of the like smoke effects from him hitting the guy, they would look a bit corrupt and off. So by using this driver, it actually seems to fix them, but there is like a couple of niggles with like the UI in the main menu, for example. But apart from that, Batman is running excellent. It's really smooth. The only downside is that it's the Nintendo Switch version, so it runs at a maximum of 30 frames per second, whereas usually it runs at 60. So I actually find this game harder to play in 30 frames because I feel like I want to do inputs a lot quicker than I am anticipating, so sometimes I get whacked quite easily. But Batman Arkham City is completely playable on the Odin 2. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. If you've never played it, now is a great time to check it out, since Rocksteady seem to be shooting themselves in the foot with not a great game, Suicide Squad. I love Rocksteady, and even I don't want to check it out. It's a bit of a shame, really, but their Batman trilogy is top notch, and you can play Asylum and City both on the Odin 2 pretty much perfectly, so they're worth adding to your collection.
Must have been something to do with Holly. I told you she was up. So that's the plan. Yep. I ain't so sure.
We're going to have a quick look at Bayonetta 3 using revision 17 Terminate driver. Now, this is one that I won't say it's playable, but I've checked up on it a couple of times, and you get to the title menu and the frame rate is kind of low there. Every time I've checked it out, I've gone, nah, this isn't worth checking out. But today, I went to check it out, and I was like, you know what? This works. And it's like, it's not 60 frames, and it's like not perfect, but it works. And that really surprised me. And then later on, I have a little look with the floating item, yeah, right here, to look at the CPU and mem, and they're not maxing out. So that gives me like a good feeling that maybe in future updates this will get even better, and I really hope it does, because I think it'd be awesome to be able to play this on the Odin 2. So I got high hopes that later down the line this one could actually be playable. But again, this is only the start of the games. There's so much later on that probably gets crazy, so who knows. We're going to have a quick look at Dark Souls, which is already playable, but I kind of wanted to like prove a point. Here I'm using revision 17 again. I also have the latest update and the light fix, which I have shown in a different video. But I basically got right to the end of Dark Souls. I don't know why I didn't kill Gwyn. I just kind of stopped. But I just wanted to show that here is a save file. I have played basically all of Dark Souls on this device, so I can personally verify that the entire of Dark Souls 1 is playable. I don't think there was a single area that didn't work. There might have been one actually. I think it was like the when you go down that big tree and there's like the beach there. I think it gets a bit weird a couple of places there, but that was like it. And it constantly surprised me how well this game ran. So if you want to play Dark Souls, yeah, it is playable. Just wanted to say with Dragon's Dogma, which is playable, but there's a shadow issue where like it's still not fixed, and I was hoping like a different driver might have fixed it by now, but I don't know. I think it's just something we're gonna have to wait with Yuzu updates. And I just wanted to chime in with GRIME again. I actually did a whole video on this because it's out, and I actually worked on this game. I did the music for this, and it works perfectly on this device. I think it actually runs better than the Nintendo Switch. I'm not entirely sure, but this is a really cool Metroidvania. I did the music for it, and the only problems it has is some like graphical errors when you like attack the enemy. So I think there's a couple of things that happens in this little boss fight where you immediately notice like, oh yeah, there's a couple of errors there. But hopefully, like right there, hopefully in a new update, those won't appear anymore, and this whole game should look buttery nice at 30 frames. It is a really cool game. I know I'm biased, but if you're into Metroidvanias and want something a bit different and something with Dark Souls like combat for a 2.5D style game, it's definitely worth checking out. Here I want to have a look at Live Alive, Live Alive, whatever, don't know how to say it, using Turnip 17. So here's a really weird thing. When I tried this game before I did the video, it worked. It worked perfectly. And I was like, okay, I'm excited to show this in a video. Except whenever I was testing it in the video, as soon as I start the game, the like overworld map area always looked wrong. It just horrible. And it was like right there, whereas the first time I tried it, it displayed perfectly. I could not find a way to fix this. I don't know if I should probably have like maybe cleared the cache again just to make sure, but I get into battle and the game runs absolutely fine. So yeah, I don't know why I kept coming up with that problem in the video. My first time trying it, I got into the map and I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, looking forward to like play this a bit and get some footage of this. But yeah, all I can really show you is that the battle system was working fine, but the overworld in the video, I tried Turnip 16, maybe there's some other drivers I should have checked just in case, but I'm 99% sure I started this game with Turnip 17 and it worked, so maybe it's one of those problems where, actually I can bring it up right now with Mario Kart. So first of all, using Qualcomm 676.47, I actually tested some Turnip drivers, but with Qualcomm, I noticed a much smoother performance. So a couple of times I started this game, and I don't know if you're going to have this problem too. Maybe it's just an update problem with Yuzu, but if you start the game and you hear like crackling in the audio, then for some reason the game's not going to run very well. So maybe this is a memory leak issue where you need to like restart the emulator and just get back in, but for me, what I noticed is if I started Mario Kart and there was no crackles in the audio, right now with this update and this driver, I pretty much had 60 frames the entire time playing this game. I think there was a couple instances in the last track I tried, because I did 4 tracks, like one GP thing, and yeah, I think I noticed a couple of like noticeable hiccups right at the end. But all these tracks I played, I was just having a great time. I forgot I was actually making a video. And Mario Kart 8 was working really well when the Odin 2 came out anyway. But I definitely remember recalling in some videos, like the first track I showed was Los Angeles. And I remember saying like, this is a track that doesn't run well, so I can't recommend that this game is completely playable. Whereas after this video, I'm like, yeah, I think I can recommend this game is completely playable. The 4 tracks I tried, I didn't have a problem. So unless there are some tracks that are known to be like real problems that I'm unaware of, I think it's completely playable. Wow. Now, here's the big one. This is one of the main reasons I was excited to do this video. Metroid Prime. Here is showing revision 17, so that's the newest turnip driver. When you actually go to the GitHub page where you download this, you have to scroll down a fair bit. So I just want to demonstrate here. You can see there's a couple of graphical issues. I don't know if that's to do with the turnip driver, and I can't guarantee that it was turnip 17 that fixed this for me. It might have just been the newest update, but every time I tested Metroid Prime, I did this airlock and wait for it to open, and every time I walked through this door, the game would freeze. And today it didn't, and I was ecstatic. I was like, oh crap, we're gonna play Metroid Prime on the Odin 2, let's go. So on the Discord for Odin 2 emulation, there were some people saying, oh, we've tested Metroid Prime, and it's like, well, how did you do it? And I think a couple of them admitted they took their PC save past this point and then tested it out. You can see some graphical errors there, very, very minor. I don't know if maybe turning back to a different turnip driver, Qualcomm, or even the system GPU would fix that. I didn't test that to see, because the opening to Metroid Prime is so long, I didn't want to keep over testing this. That's actually a good point. I was going to show Nier Automata today, and the thing is, every time I tested that game, the intro is so long. It's incredibly long. You can't save, you can't skip, and it would always crash before the big crane arm comes through the wall, and you got to fight that. Today it didn't. I managed to play a really nice chunk of Nier Automata to the point where I thought I was going to be able to save. So I got really close to the big boss where, like, I don't want to spoil things, but then it crashed and I realized I couldn't save and I'd have to test it so much again. So I can tell you that Nier Automata is a bit better. It's not exactly playable. There's so many errors, but yeah, I'm not going to test that again until it's very noticeably better. But yeah, I played a good chunk of Metroid Prime here. I got all the way past the first section to a new territory on Talon 4, and I didn't notice any problems. So I got a really good feeling that all of this is playable now. So maybe it was the newest Yuzu update. Maybe if you change the GPU driver around, you'll fix the couple of little hiccup graphical errors we saw in this video. Didn't really bother me too much, but yeah, extremely happy that I was able to get past that airlock and save. I never have to test that really long intro ever again. I'd like to say the same about Nier Automata. But yeah, just running through the Chozo ruins here, and someone on Discord said there was a point where like this game had a memory leak and it got really bad, but in my testing of it up to this point, I didn't notice any kind of like slowdowns or any points where I thought the frame rate was going to screw up a bit. It was just very smooth, so I'm very excited about this. We're also going to have a quick look at Red Dead Redemption. This was a bit of a weird one. I wasn't sure about testing this, but I thought, you know what, new driver, new update, let's go. And I did like the whole start of the game. So you can see here in this section, after John's been shot and he wakes up in this new house, everybody's kind of glitching out and the models are acting strangely. This is exactly what happened at the start of the game. And then it ran poorer and poorer, and it seemed like the more the game had to do, the worse it got. So this might be a memory leak issue. So for example, at the start of the game, we get on the horse, we ride up to the fort, John gets shot, and it just got worse and worse, and this area was completely unplayable. Then I start up this save file for this video, and it's pretty smooth at 30 frames. Still glitchy, people, but it's pretty smooth. So I think, right, I get on the horse, I go ride out, see what happens, and it seems quite playable. I'm like, okay, this is quite odd, but I'm glad I recorded this. But then, as soon as like John gets sent back and the game restarts, because you know Rocksteady loves scripting everything in their open world games, I come back and the frame rate starts messing around again. It starts getting worse and worse. So I don't think a driver is going to fix that kind of thing. I think we're going to have to look for a new update for Red Dead Redemption to be like actually playable. But yeah, it seems like the more time you play this game, the worse it gets. But I do have high hopes for it, actually. It's a matter of time. A matter of time until the Odin can play this. Here's Super Mario Odyssey. Again, we're going to use revision 17. I didn't mess around with this. I have a save file where I start off in World 2, or would you consider it World 3? Anyway, it's the desert world, and I didn't really feel any problems in this either. I mean, I know this world's kind of simple, but I do actually remember testing this save file in a different video or a different time, and remembering the frame rate just was jumping up and down a little bit. In this test, it's pretty much 60 smooth throughout the entire video. So I'm just going to let this play out. This was really fun to play. This one's going to be really interesting as well. We're going to have a look at Tears of the Kingdom using revision 17. I didn't mess around with this. I just thought I'd give it a go. Newest update. I always have a save where I load up Hateno Village here. There's a lot going on in here. I feel like the villages are more dense than like other places in the game. And I always find that with Tears of the Kingdom, you need to just give it a moment to like kind of like load up, and then it starts getting smoother. When I used to run through this village, I remember it being about 18 frames, and it's pushing up between 22 and 25, which I think is very much Switch-like, because I think everybody knew that like Tears of the Kingdom didn't run like amazingly on the Switch, but it ran well enough. I think we're kind of getting to that point here again. So I was running around and going like, oh, this is weird. This is actually like decently playable. I better do some more testing, because you know, people might be really interested in this. So I'm not going to cut this footage around. I'm going to show everything I've done. I did speed up some bits later because there was a crash and I was messing around with a build that didn't make sense. But yeah, this is all uncut. So if you want to watch all of this, you can see exactly what happens. There's a bit later where the sound gets kind of like glitchy. This has always happened. I'm not entirely sure why. So I think that is just a Yuzu thing that's going to have to be fixed later down the line. But yeah, this is the Tears of the Kingdom on the newest Yuzu build.
Oh. Huh? Yeah.
What? So I thought it'd be a good idea to go to the underworld, and then it crashed, and I was like, oh no, 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 I hope that doesn't again. And it didn't. It's just a thing that sometimes happens with Yuzu and emulators in general, I guess. Sometimes something goes wrong. It tends to happen more on Yuzu than other emulators, but it's just kind of like something you have to accept. So load up a save file, try to fast travel to the underworld area again, and this time it works. So I run around for a bit. I did think like, oh, maybe I'll build something and drive around and see how it handles that, but it kind of screwed up, and then it crashed again whilst I was making the build. So at this point in the video, I'm like, I mean, it's been running well, but can I say it's playable if it's going to crash like this? But I don't know. I don't know if it was just a random crash, because this does happen even on PC Yuzu. Even if you have like the best PC, sometimes Yuzu will just crash. You can't help it. So, you know, maybe this isn't the fault of the Odin. Maybe it's just that over time, maybe Yuzu will become more efficient. So, I don't know. But I was really happy with this video. I think Tears of the Kingdom is more playable than ever, which is awesome. And lastly, I just want to quickly check out triangle strategy. So this was someone on Reddit actually asked about this, and I tested it yesterday before this newest build, and I was able to do a whole battle and the game ran perfectly. And I was like, great, let's try and get another battle again. And then I kept playing the game, and it's like, oh, it's going to take forever. So I just ran around this town, and for some reason, I don't know why I didn't get footage of this, but a couple of these houses you try to go into, they're just like bright white and you can't see anything. So I would say if you want to test this game out yourself, try some different drivers, because that might actually fix that problem, but I'm not 100%. But yeah, that's the end of my latest showcase for Nintendo Switch on Yuzu with the Odin 2. I'm really happy with some of the games there, Metroid Prime especially. So if you like that video, please give it a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.